Welcome to the Bombshell Business Podcast, where driven women in business learn how to become more bold, brave, and unwaveringly confident. Feel empowered and challenged through inspiring stories and tell it like it is advice for business, life, and leadership. Hey Bombshells, it's Amber Hurdle here, your host, and I am so glad to have you back listening to the Bombshell Business Podcast. We are on episode 40, and we are talking about how to promote yourself to the media. So this is part 2 of a 3-part series. Last time we covered preparing the foundation of your media plan. So if you have a product or service that you are wanting to get some media coverage for, this podcast series is for you. But before we get into the content today, I want to give a shout out to listener C. Franz 479. C says, I found this podcast through Amber's guest appearance on Christy Wright's Business Boutique, and I absolutely love listening to her. I love Amber's authenticity and spunk. She is so fun, and you'll love her advice. Thank you so much. First of all, shout out to Christy Wright. Don't we all love her? Christy is also pretty straightforward and awesome. We love Christy. And hopefully I will get to chit chat with her some more this year. But I kind of want to also make a point of this now that I think about it. I really just was going to give a shout out, but this is specifically about my guest appearance on Christy Wright's Business Boutique podcast, which means that was PR, and that's exactly what we're talking about now. You want to think about that as I move into today's topic. But before we even do that, speaking of more PR, I will be at Parnassus Books in Green Hills on February 7th, signing books that are purchased by this fabulous bookstore. If you have not been there, honestly, I know everybody wants to come to Nashville. We're like the it place, and we are graciously accepting all the additional traffic that you're bringing us, but we love you, so keep coming, spending your money, and going home, and not clogging up our schools and jails and everything else. We'll just take your money and let you go on back to your house. We love our tourists, and I hope that people are having a fun time when they come to Nashville. But on your list of places to go to on all the other cool things that you do when you're in Nashville, you want to go to Parnassus Books, whether or not you can make it February 7th at 6:30, because it is actually co-owned by international best-selling author Ann Patchett. So most recently she wrote The Commonwealth. I read it. It's fabulous. It's a really interesting novel, and her business partner is publishing vet Karen Hayes. And so this dynamic duo of women were like, you know what? Bookstores are not dead. And when some of the bookstores started closing around Nashville, they opened up this this bookstore. So now they are hosting cool author events like this, and it's a real privilege to be able to be a part of that. So February 7th, 6:30 in Green Hills, 3900 Hillsborough Road. If you go to parnassusbooks.net/event, you can just click on the calendar on February 7th and get all those good details, and I will put the information in the show notes of this episode too. Okay, so now that we've done all of our housekeeping, let's dive into today's content. So remember, we are talking about how to promote yourself to the media, parts 1, 2, and 3, and we're on part 2 today. You want to make it easy to cover you. Make it easy. All right. So how are you going to go about doing that? You want to be able to synthesize your key talking points. Say them over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It doesn't matter. Not everybody is going to hear you say them over and over and over again. So let's go back to the fact that one of my listeners came to me through listening to me on Christy Wright's podcast. Now, I probably said very similar things on Christy Wright's podcast as I said on other podcasts that I've been a guest on, but that person only heard me that one time. Only that one time, I'm betting, because if she listened to me on another podcast, she would already been a listener and she would not have said that she found me through Christy Wright. So me repeating some of the same key phrases that I repeat over and over and over and over and over and over again only annoyed me. It did not annoy this person, only me. So you might find yourself sick of telling the same story, sick of saying the same things over and over and over again, but it's very important that you can spit out your key talk points about your product or your service or whatever it is that you're promoting, because you only get so much time. Maybe on a podcast or a radio interview, you get 30 minutes, maybe even an hour. One of my favorite interviews ever was an hour radio show, and it was super fun. But like on TV, you get maybe 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes if you're extra super lucky. So you want to be sure that you can synthesize those talk points and spit them out. You want to make sure you have a media kit. So you want to put that kit together in a way that, remember on our original foundational lesson that we talked about in episode 39, you wanted to have your media plan together with what outlets you were going to pitch, what the timeline was going to be, what your angle was going to be, and what your strategy was going to be. So you want to have a media kit and an angle to fit every outlet. Not every outlet is going to be interested in the same angle. So your media kit might not look the same for every single person, because your press release might not be the same for every single outlet. Now, let me tell you what. You're probably like, I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not a wordsmith. These are things that you can outsource, like on Fiverr or Odesk. Do not get taken advantage of by people who say, I'll write you the perfect press release for like $2,000. You should do it with me because I guarantee placements, and then nothing happens. I want to encourage you, if you are doing it yourself, just you and your best friend is a person who's proofreading it, and that one friend that you had that worked in media relations for an internship and then decided that they were going to become a banker, have them look at it too. But what I'm telling you is I've seen some pretty hokey stuff out there, and it gets covered, okay? Some pretty not visually attractive, some maybe not compelling body copy, and they're still getting covered. So you have to start somewhere. I don't want you to say, whoa, hold on, I'm putting together this media kit and I don't know what I'm doing, and then not do it at all. I would rather see you fail spectacularly than freeze and be 100% sure that you're not going to get any coverage because you didn't do it at all, okay? Remember, we fail forward. Fail forward. And get people to proofread things, please. All right, so in your media kit, you want to have different versions, because remember, different people want different things. So you want to have a PDF online of your media kit, your basic media kit. And you want to make sure that that PDF has a reduced file size, so that if you send it as an attachment, it actually goes through and it doesn't get flagged by, some television stations' mail filters because you're sending some gigantic attachment. All right. So you want to remember, we want to make it easy to cover you, which means that your email has to actually land in their inbox. And then it's also smart to create a link to where it is stored, like in Dropbox or Box or Google Drive or whatever. But also keep in mind that if you're pitching somebody who is unfamiliar to you and you're like, hey, check out my media kit, here's a link. A smart and savvy interweb dweller would not click on a link from a stranger, okay? So that's something that you would use maybe after asking for permission. I would like to share with you my media kit. Would you be interested? Very quick email, very quick synopsis of why you would be worthy to their readers or their listeners or their viewers. And in that case, you might offer, I have it stored in Drive. Would you like me to send you a link? And then that would be when you can send that link, especially if it's big and there's a lot of images, or maybe if there's if you put videos in it or whatever. Of course, you want to have a printed one because some people are just old school and they want you to send it to them in the mail where they can feel it and carry it to a meeting and all that good jazz. And then you also want a web page version. So I will link in the show notes to my web media kit so you can see some of the things that I have in that, including images. I mean, there's pictures of my book, and there's pictures of me, and there's lifestyle pictures of me, and there's pictures of me and my daughter when she was a baby, and all those good things, of course, because I talk about being a teen mom in my book. So don't people want to see what my baby looked like and what did I look like as a 16-year-old holding a baby? Those are interesting things to media. So you want to think about those things. Also, you can say, if you want more information, then you can request a larger media kit. So everything that's in my media kit is not on my webpage because I don't want people ripping me off, and I don't need to put more information out there than what people need to get their attention. And if they want more, they know how to get it, and so they can request that. So again, you want a PDF version in a reduced file size that you can attach to an email. You want to save it somewhere in a Dropbox, box, Google Drive, wherever you store such things. I know there's there's like one share something. It's whatever the Microsoft one is. Of course, I'm an Apple person, so I have no idea what that is. But wherever you store your OneDrive, that's it. Wherever you store it there. And then you also want it printed in a web page version. Okay. Now, I'm going to let you know what's in my media kit. This might not be the same for you. I want you to transform this from book to whatever your product or service is. Okay. First of all, you need a press release, okay? Who, what, when, where, why, and how. That's your lead. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. If you don't address those things, nobody cares, okay? You don't get into how awesome you are. You get into the lead of what it is that you're pitching and why, and who it's for, and why this is compelling to an audience, okay? And then at the very end, you can be like, and I'm great because, all right? So Google how to write a modern press release. This is not something I'm going to get into in this episode, but I do advise you to dig deeper. As long as there's Google and YouTube, you have exactly zero excuse for not knowing how to do something. All right. So you want your press release, and then, of course, I have a picture of my book on that press release, and then also you want a book description, so what's on the back of the book, and a brief author bio. So that's all one page right there, too. Now, if this is for your product or a service, then that might be like a one-pager on your speaking or on your legal services, or it could be the new makeup line that you've created. Whatever it is that you are promoting, you want a one-pager on that talks about the actual product or service itself, okay? I also have my book specs because that's relevant. So like the ISBN number and all the kind of like technical things that like nobody would really care about except for the people who would get this piece of paper. And then also sample interview questions and even maybe answers. Okay. Again, I hate to tell you this. I care about you, but the media does not care about you. They don't care. They don't care. It's a sad situation, but they don't care. And so like I wasn't expecting anybody to read my book. I think it's cool that some of them did, but they're not going to read my book. You know how many books they get in the mail? You know how many people they have to cover in a day, and they have lives too. They're not going home and like, ooh, I better read this book before I interview Amber. That's not going to happen. So we sent them, here are the questions you should ask me, because then they're going to know, guess what? I'm going to be prepared with answers because I told them what to ask me. So whatever your product or service is, think of the top questions that you want listeners, readers, viewers to know, and then create questions around those. And sometimes bloggers and others will do like a Q&A and just post your questions and answers verbatim from what you sent them. So again, we're making this easy. Do you know how hard it is to create content? I'm sitting up here. It's a beautiful snow day. I'm in my office creating content. I'm not doing, I'm not at the spa. I was at the spa yesterday. Let's just be real. Okay, I was at the hair salon today too, but I'm creating content and it takes time. And so if you make it easier for me to do that, then I'm going to be more likely to cover you because it takes less time for me to prep for you. Get it? Okay. So you also want your contact information clear, and preferably on every page if you ask me. And then a credibility page too. You want testimonials, you want maybe like before and after pictures if that's relevant to you, previous media appearances or previous media coverage, companies you've worked with, companies that use your product. You go to some of these software things and it's like Microsoft and Google and all these people use this product. Well, they do that because they're building credibility, and you want to be able to do that for the media as well. And then, of course, any accomplishment. So if it's award-winning, you look at these like face creams covered, like mentioned in Cosmopolitan as a top skincare of 2017. Those are things that you would want to put on that credibility page. So mine has pictures of me on different television sets and some of the companies that I work for and some of the I don't know. Do I have testimonials on that? I don't remember. I think I do. Yeah. Testimonials of people I've worked with. If you are an author, then those testimonials of, kind of well-known people who are vouching for your book, that would all go in that. And then, how are you going to make this? Remember, I said you could do it yourself. You can just make this in Word or Google Docs. You can make it simple. Just make a nice, pretty, professional-looking header with your logo. And then in the footer, you want to put all of your contact information and just keep it simple. Or you can go on Canva. I have a real quick, brief tutorial on YouTube, really just to make an image quote. But there's all kinds of tutorials on Canva or PicMonkey or any of those free graphic design programs online that you can use. Or you could go on Fiverr and for $30, you could have somebody else create this media kit. All you have to do is give them all the content and they will send you something back that looks pretty. Make sure, again, go back to the episode about branding, and be sure that you are staying with your brand guidelines. All of my stuff, of course, has my cranberry color and white and black, and the font is the same, and everything is the Bombshell brand, and the Amber Hurdle brand. And so you want to be sure that you have everything very, very consistent. Okay, now, also make it easy to cover you. Put together a launch team of your friends and fans and customers would be your fans, but your social media fans that are super engaged, and your family members. I don't care who it is. You want a launch team of people who are going to support you. And make it easy on them, give them to-dos. So I kind of call them like department heads, right? So if you're about to launch a new product, then you might ask your very best friend to help you get people to the launch party. Make that a compelling thing. Get them to find the people, put the list together, get the media there, whatever. You might have your cousin. Make sure she might be amazing at social media, and so she might be kind of like the social media chair of your launch team. If you're an author like me, then you want people to read your book early so that when it launches, they can leave a review immediately, which would then increase your exposure. Or it might be that these people try your product, and so you need somebody in charge of that. It could be a thunderclap online. If you don't know what that is, Google it. It's like when everybody all at once kind of shares at the same time. And it just kind of like, it's all over on social media everywhere all at once. Those are very specific to-dos that you can give to your friends, family, fans, customers, etc. And then when all of that is happening, and you're showing look how awesome the launch party was, and you send those pictures along, and we'll talk about that, building on your successes on the next episode. When you send along the pictures, look how many people came to the launch party. Aren't you interested in this? Look how viral it went on social media. Look how many people are talking about this. Look at the reviews that we've already gotten. It's only 1 week, and look at all these reviews. Here's a review that I've put on my credibility page, that I put in my media kit. Now you're making it easy on these media outlets to cover you because you've proven yourself. But you didn't do it all on your own. Because remember, no woman is an island. We need the help. I need a little help from my friends. And so you need to put a launch team together. Now, it doesn't have to be extra fancy schmancy, super organized launch team. Mine, honestly, guess what, people? It takes about 18 months to write and publish a book. I did it in 9. So do you think my launch, even as psycho-organized as I am and much of a planner as I am, I did not have a super scheduled launch team, but I had certain people that knew that I was going to call on them and I needed them to do what I needed them to do. And no questions asked, they totally did it for me. And so I kind of had a ad hoc, unofficial launch team that really pulled through for me. And by the way, if you're listening, I love you guys so much. There's no way in God's green earth I could have pulled that off without y'all. So anyways, you want to make sure that you build that. Now, what if you don't have a ton of friends or family, or you don't have people that you know? That's where you need to start networking. So go back to the episode where we talk about networking, and I will put that in the show notes, how to network like a lady boss, and listen to that. Because remember, last time we talked about building your squad and getting ahead of whatever it is that you want the media to cover, getting way ahead of that. Like if you want the media to cover something tomorrow, you're probably already too late. Okay, I'm just going to be honest with you. You can't just suddenly become relevant. That's not how this works. You have to build up steam to that grand moment in time. Okay, so do your homework. Lay the foundation. Go back, listen to episode 39. Do everything that I told you to do there. Now we're going to make it easy for media to cover you here in episode 40 so that you can then go on to episode 41, which is the next episode, and we're going to talk about building on your successes, right? And making sure that everything that you've done is relevant and you use it to not just snowball, but to avalanche your whatever it is that you're promoting. Okay, so we want to make sure that you're handling success and rejection well, because we're going to talk about that too. Remember, I've told you in the last episode, in this episode, nobody cares. Nobody cares. They don't. You have to make them care. And so even when you try to make them care, they still don't care. So I'm going to talk to you about how to handle that in part 3 of how to promote yourself to the media. If you have any questions, by all means, send an email, post them in the comments of the show notes, amberhurdle.com/podcasts with an S. You can look for episode 40. We can talk about it on social media. I'm on Instagram. Y'all know I love me some Twitter. Twitter's my jam, y'all. Twitter is my jam. And then Facebook also as well. I'm not a huge lover of Facebook because they like to change the rules all the time, and it's kind of hard. It's like, the friend that always changes her mind. If she wants to go out, she doesn't want to go out. She's vegan this week, next week she's not. That's kind of how I feel about Facebook. Now, that's just me. But certainly Twitter is a place where you can find me alive and well. And as always, you can email me because I love hearing from you. It takes me a little bit nowadays to get back to you. Can't do it as quickly, but I promise I'm pretty sure that I have responded to everyone unless you landed in my spam folder, in which case I don't check that very frequently, but I will try. Okay, guys, that is it for part 2 of how to promote yourself to the media. Be sure if you're in the area that you come see me at Parnassus Books in Green Hills, 3900 Hillsborough Road. That is on February 7th. It's a Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. I would love for you to purchase one of my books, The Bombshell Businesswoman, from them, a duo female-owned author and industry vet own it. And, I love the fact that we are all supporting not only learning through books, but also female business owners. So I'd love to see you there. I will see you on the next episode. And in the meantime, be bold, brave, and unwaveringly confident in all aspects of your life, business, personal, spiritual, everything. And I will catch you next time. Thanks for listening to the Bombshell Business Podcast. Visit amberhurdle.com for more resources like show notes, and check out thebombshellbusinesswoman.com to grab my book and download the free bonuses.